Alright. Hopefully my computer doesn't shit the bed today like it did yesterday. That was super irritating for me, and I'm sure for anyone that had the misfortune of watching that. We are here for the semifinals of the Good Omens Invitational. Just two more games to find out who gets the tasty, tasty ham. Today we have 3DCube playing his Dishonor Crab deck. We talked about this yesterday and at the false start, so nothing more left to really say about this. Pintorpin's deck is a Takamori dueling Dragon Splash deck, so kind of cool. We've talked about this before as well, but Muramoto's Fury, we don't see that terribly often. Bunch of cancels in Defend Your Honor and Voice of Honors, Treasured Gift, and Takamori to make sure you can't have anyone attacking. Good times, right? Currently, you guys are just stuck with me. Although if someone wants to co-cast, hit me up, and we'll get you on the call. And hopefully that doesn't cause my computer to just have violent diarrhea all over the place. Looks like we're just waiting on 3DCube. Make sure I did make that announcement on the Discord. Sometimes I forget to do things out of order. Like I did here. I forgot to hit the enter key. And we are off. In fact, let me change that since I meant to hit enter earlier. And just do that. There we go. Cool. Alright. Crab is on the play. It's kind of nice to see two non-meta-ish decks. I don't think 3DCube's really running the Emperor. It's more of a broker deck. We don't need my Facebook up there. I'll close that out so we don't tab over to it accidentally again. And you don't see a lot of Takamori these days. So it's a refreshing change, and that is my phone telling me that I've started streaming. I need to find a way to turn that notification off. Well, we are almost at the end of the shit-tastic year. Hopefully things start improving, although even that's going to be a slow process to do it correctly. Okay, we see a Kageyu and a Takamori on Pintorpin's side, and a Student and a Steadfast on 3DCube's, but 3DCube has the advantage of playing Cute and Hida, which he's going to fire off first. Gets an Envoy, pitches a Student, and a Keeper. This is super bad for Pintorpin. It would almost be worth it to not buy anyone, because Way of the Crab is a thing. It's a 2 thing in this deck. Decides to go with Kageyu with 1 Fate. It's a bold choice. What is 3DCube going to do here? Do you burn the Way of the Crab right now? Or... I don't know that I would, actually. No, he just passes. I wouldn't have done that, but both of these are probably significantly better players than I am. Alright. Looks like 3DCube's having to think about something. Pops the Storehouse. We're going through some fairly standard motions. 3DCube's RL card, I believe, is... oh, it's the Keeper Initiates. ignore me. So probably see an air conflict here to force a defense. Yeah, I think I'd go military air. Start applying some dishonor pressure as well as threatening getting Keeper out. Decides to go Earth instead. Did I? Hang on, now I'm second guessing myself that I've got things set up correctly. Give me just a moment. Swing that over here. No, I said swing that over here. There we go. Okay, so finds up holding. Kageyu defends. And we see the dojo fire off. So that is going to be a large Kageyu. And why is Twitch being stupid for me now? I guess I'm not logged in. That's fine. I'll fix anything I can in post. Yep, 3DCube's going to pass. I don't know if there's any real investments that can be made here. Oh, we see RTO happen. There's no real hope of winning this. This is not the duel to throw away 4 honor on just to force a tie. 3DCube fires off the Caillou Forges. And getting to look at what's the top third of his deck, finds a storehouse. Pops a storehouse, see a storehouse, pop a storehouse. And there's Pintorpin's first conflict win. Earth Ring is probably the best ring on the table, so that might be why 3DCube went for it. Oh, chooses to pass his conflict, so he should probably attack now. That would make sense. You might as well go air, which looks like what he's doing. Ooh, man. And finds a fertile fields. So card's going to get drawn, and then it's probably going to break. It's a political conflict, so Crab's going to have a hard time with this. Unless he drops a Messenger of Misery plus a For Shame. That would at least force more cards to be played. And seeing as how he's 4 cards up so far. Oh, we see Way of the Crab. There's Cancel. Do we see... Nope, nothing happens. Fertile Fields breaks. And Pinter gains 2 honor. So anticipating a dishonor game here, wanting to stay as up as possible, which isn't a bad plan. 3DCube wipes everything. Pintor pitches the favorable grounds. There's an Uji and another favorable grounds, 2 silent skirmishers and a keeper for 3DCube. That's not super great, I don't think. Especially since, I mean, here I think you buy the Uji, and now you can get either the best 4 cards you want to play, or the 4 cards you don't need and don't want to draw later. Yep. Kosaka pointing out that it's been 2 turns and Takamori hasn't been purchased yet. The upside to this, I guess, if you want to look at it as an upside, is 3DCube is going to have all the fate in the world going into next turn. Takes a shot at Kudenhita. I think he needs to find something here. Does not find any characters. Pitches a Season of War, a Funeral Pyre, and a Favorable Ground. That's pretty terrible. That's some bad luck right there. 3DCube drops to a 1 bid. Still up on cards. Still way down on board presence though. He may have a handful of backhand compliments. And so that low bid brings him that much closer to turning him on. Miyako's aren't super great here because Silent Skirmishers is 0 and Pintor doesn't have any non-unique characters. Messenger of Misery and For Shame are still an option. A meager delaying tactic, I think. The Defender Honor is pointless. Skirmishers might do some work here as well, though. We do see a Gunso come down, and the Political Void at the Flooded Wastes, which is a pretty good hit. Is Pintor on any conflict characters? A Steward and a Rival. Rival eats up all of his fate, though, so not super likely. I don't think 3DCube defends here. Does choose to defend. I guess he wants the ring. Is he on? No, even Guardians would make a difference, but he's not. I don't know why I would defend here. Because if... Okay, no stands. Attacking here feels like a really bad idea. Right? Because Uji's just going to say no to whatever conflict you start. Well, decides to go for it. That will prompt a defense, maybe? Is Pintor's deck running any stands? Let's take a look. RTOs is a quasi-stand, but the Silent Skirmishers are dashes. Yeah, no stands, so this might not be the worst idea in the world. I'm not super keen on it, though. We do see an Uji defense. There's the Kikita Dojo. So 1 bid's all around. Uji's honored, and so now we get to see, or now we get to start seeing what cards got squirreled away under there. Miramoto's Fury could be a safe bet. Probably a voice, maybe a defend your honor, maybe a duel to the death. Oh, okay, so he just is going to let the skirmisher take the ring. Do you push for a break here? The dojo's been used, so it's not super pertinent. And the answer is he chooses not to or can't. Gunso gets ready. Uji is almost certainly going to crack a province here on his own, though. Funeral Pyre gets used before it goes away. I think you just walk forward on Earth, would be my bet, or would be my line at least. Decides to go air, denies keepers, makes sense too, although I don't think the keeper is going to accomplish much of anything. I don't think there's any worthwhile defense that can happen here, and the honor is not going to matter all that much. Putting anyone in the way that's not the silent skirmisher could open up an RTO, so if you want to stop the honor loss, that's probably your best bet, because the skirmisher really isn't doing anything else after this conflict. So when 3DCube swings back, he's got to worry about Miramoto's Furies, Stewards, and For Shames, or Political Rival, although I don't expect we'll see a Political Rival. Yeah, I think if you're going to defend, you defend with just a skirmisher, or we see no defense in the pass. Gains 2, still trying to keep up on honor. So here, what, you go fire, get a little bit of extra money as a consolation in case you get bowed out and don't win. Things are not looking super great for 3DCube though. Because that Uji is going to be alive long enough to... I think that Uji will be alive until the end of the game. Unless there's a spicy extra way at the crab. And fire dishonors him, so that would prevent any voices from happening. So that could be a swinging point. We see court games down. Is 3DCube on court games? He is, so he can do that stunning core gameplay and play court games for court games. He can drop a Miyako over it. Drops a Watch Commander instead. That's kind of nice. There's a let go. That's not super great. Pardon me for just one moment. Sorry, my dog needs to be let out. We see Ornate Fan come down. Pinter having a thought about what to do next. There's the Fury, which was under Uji. Do we see a Miyako come down? I mean, 3DCube's got 11 Fate. He can pretty much do whatever he wants. Passes. So that's unfortunate. He will get the favor though, which can help prevent being denied Muramoto's Fury. Do we see the Way of the Crab? We do not. Alright, there's a Steadfast, a Gallant, and a Keeper for 3DCube, Crippling Taxes, a Whisperer, and the ever-present Takamori and Dojo. I think here you just buy the Steadfast with a bunch. That is all 3 Keepers though, so Air Rings will be super valuable to 3DCube. Crippling Taxes doesn't refill it, it just discards it. Yeah, so he will lose. I think if he doesn't buy the Witch Hunter, he's going to lose it. Buys it with 2, so Takamori's going to get bought and shut down the Witch Hunter, which is okay-ish because of the favorable ground. Ooh, we don't see what Crippling Taxes fire. I think you buy the Gallant here. Takamori will still probably shut down the Witch Hunter and then kill the favorable ground. Takamori with a bunch of Fate. And Witch Hunter is shut down. There's Kyuden Hida to find something. Another Witch Hunter. Would be nice, but not super necessary. Broker would be good. And he finds a broker and throws a bunch of money on it. I'm looking kind of ghostly again. Let me turn the lights on. And hopefully the camera will rebalance and things will look better. There we go. Good enough-ish. Where are we? So Crippling Taxes does get rid of the favorable ground. So no movement for the Witch Hunter. 3DCube probably wants to find, I think you bid 5 here. There's no reason to put yourself behind on cards. That one bid did not really pay off last turn. Does a 1 bid again. Alright. I mean, I guess it is gradually pinging him down. Crab is at an astonishing 17 honor now. You don't often see that. I guess the broker can make up for... Okay, we see a levy get played, takes an honor. So Pintor trying to keep a fury up because his board is kind of narrow. Hiruma Skirmisher would be really good for 3DCube right now. Being able to walk around Uji, I think is kind of important. I think he needs to, he doesn't need to, but laying on some brakes would help pressure things. If we can see a skirmisher come down, which we don't, I was going to say a military air attack with the Gunso would do a lot. Instead, it looks like he's going to have to try and fight through an Uji. Decides to go Earth again. I guess that evens out the hands a bit, assuming he can win it. And I guess the ups, well, no, because there could be an RTO. Although, if there is an RTO, I think you just bid to tie. An Uji that's not attacking you, I think, is pretty valuable for 3DCube. Less so for Pinter. We see a Takamori defense, so probably for shame. And now my dog wants to come back in. Pardon me again. Alright, so one bid's on the duel, unsurprising. So now we see a pass. Political fire with the Whisperer at Courteous Greeting. That's clearly going to get defended by the Gallant Quartermaster. And both of them are going to sit down and have a lovely chat over some nice warm tea. Defense of the Broker instead. Okay. That does kind of force Pinter to play cards to win. And the Witch Hunter can always stand off the stand the Broker off the Quartermaster. Double defense stops you from losing to a single court games. but he's definitely having to think about this. Personally, I would defend with the quartermaster and just use courteous greeting. Um, 3DCube opts to go the broker, which can allow Pinter the firing effect without winning it. Okay, 3DCube honors himself. That makes quite a bit of sense since he has a political conflict. Looks like we were having a voice of honor prompt here from Pinter. Seems to go through. There's a pass. I think you just pass back. And then you swing Void and try and get that Uji off the table before it does anything else. He is at 18 honor, Jesus Christ. Okay, Miyako comes down over the Gunso, gets a stand and dishonors the Whisperer. And there's a pass. So now Steadfast is going to eat the Quartermaster to stand the Broker. And then you're in a decent spot to attack. Going air is pretty good, I think. Gets you a ton of bodies. And Courteous Greeting wasn't used, so Pintor will have to go at the Shameful. Well, I guess that depends on if 3DCube is playing Scorpion memes and put Abandoning Honor under a box. We don't see the Witch Hunter stand the Broker. So that's being saved for the defense. We could very easily see another Fury happen here, though. Since we've only seen the one, and Pinter's halfway through his deck. Okay, goes with the Gallant Quartermaster. Is there anything the Gallant Quartermaster can do to actually win this? A whole bunch of fans? Gunso showing up? I think you still need a whole bunch of fans. Gunso with a Watch Commander. We don't see an RTO. Court games down would be good. It is entirely possible that Pinter has a way of the Crane under Uji. Losing this air ring would be pretty bad for Pinter, just for the board presence it gives 3DCube. And we just see a pass instead. Okay, so 3DCube basically staving off his demise by at least a turn. Pinter passes his conflict. The Gallant Quartermaster is going to stand the Broker just for the money. It feels like 3DCube is stabilizing a little bit. Takamori, I think, is going to present a number of problems, though. Pinter has not played hardly any cards out from Uji, though, so that might be some wasted value. We see a Takamori dupe and tea houses, and that dojo is still there. And we see a bunch of good buys for 3DCube. The sad news is discarding a dupe to Takamori does not let you trigger his ability, so the broker can swing in, which means a student's going to get bought. I assume if Uji gets blanked here, he can't use those cards anymore, which could be a pretty big deal. They're going to waive his turn anyway, so I think they'd be super likely to get burned. And 3DCube just shits out all the characters. Both players bid 1. 3DCube definitely has... Sorry, there's a dog barking somewhere outside, and so my big idiot is being a big idiot. So I'm going to mute myself until she calms down. I think I'm okay. Alright, Uji gets blanked off the student, sacking an envoy. So those cards are likely to be off. Swings at Courteous Greeting. I think we can see a pretty gross defense here with the Broker and the Vanguard and the Miyako. And all the things that basically say you're not going to win this conflict. We see a defend of Vanguard and Student. That Vanguard quite willing to serve up some tea if needed. So I don't think Pinter can do much. I guess he can, sure, Honor of a Whisperer. I don't recall seeing any storied defeats or anything in his deck, so that's just to avoid the point of honor loss, I believe. Okay. So Courteous Greeting is still up for the next conflict, which is a thing that definitely matters. We're going to see an attempt at pushing an air ring through again. Interestingly enough, 3DCube doesn't exactly have a breadth of bodies to sacrifice to the skirmisher. We see him just go with the 1. So this is a poke that Pinter needs to respect. 3DCube leaving the Broker for defense if needed. There's a block of Takamori. With a fine katana. Pinter needs to conserve any cancels in hand, because a Fate Phase Way of the Crab would definitely swing the game. Although I say swing the game, it looks like 3DCube is slowly starting to take control of the game. Calling in favors, attempts to fire, it gets defended. So that's pass and pass. Those keepers are feeling awfully neglected and dejected. Problem is, Uji doesn't really have a great attack. And he in fact chooses to pass. Treasured Gift comes down on the broker, so we will not see the economy engine fire, but that will make Pinter's future attacks. I mean, I guess it kind of locks him into using Takamori on the broker. Uh, 3DCube asking a question that I can kind of piece together. He's asking something about the clocks, and only if Pablo accepts. I think he might be wanting time. His clock has run down significantly. I'm not sure if that's a bad connection or what. But yeah, being 20 minutes behind is kind of rough. So we see conflicts pass. 3DCube absolutely locks down the favor. Oh, and he's saying he missed the windows for sacrifice. And it looks like Pablo's going to let him use the Vanguard anyway. As a 2 Witch Hunter. So, under Uji, we had a Steward, a Voice, and a Defend Your Honor. Those cards were absolutely going to try to get played this turn if possible, but that Steward made that not happen. 3DCube is up. Oh, there's the Way of the Crab with no cancel. So it is actually quite possible for 3DCube to go crunch provinces despite being down 20 minutes. We just see a Master of the Court for Pablo, another broker of Vanguard, and another broker. I mean, now it's Pinter who has, or Pablo who has all the fate in the world. 3DCube is in a really good position here. Buys another broker that can go on offense. And Pablo gets all more fate. Both players continue to bid 1. Feels like the tempo of the game is picking up a little bit now. I think it may have been a little greedy to hang on to that Kikita Dojo for as long as Pablo did. 3DCube kind of close to decking out on Dynasty. Not that he's super concerned about that. We see Way of the Crane, so he has a cancel online. Another gift On the broker, I believe that is all 2 of them. Nope, he's got 1 more. So we got a Messenger of Misery as well. So Pablo isn't going to attack. Student of Anatomies blanks Master of the Court. So I guess we see Witch Hunter takes the call, or takes the Treasured Gift. That's a neat interaction. Treasured Gift can only attach to a character your opponent controls, so if you're calling in favors it's going onto a character you control and gets pitched. So that's a really good interaction. Finds Honor's Reward. We see a defense that will stop the break from happening. But that's fine. There's a fine katana. And a bonsai. Pablo does not want this air ring to land. And understandably so, right? Does not pay the honor for it, though. Finds a favorable ground, which is probably going to move in the broker with the gift. The broker wants to show off the master, or show off the gift the master gave him in person, aggressively. Duel to the death on the Witch Hunter. That is 9-4, so too bad. You can bid to tie it, but all Pablo has to do is bid 2. So I think you kind of forced into bidding 1. Witch Hunter dies. Broker shows up. Now that is not enough, though. Dojo to lock out the Vanguard. There's a lot. And that only lasts for a conflict, right? Yeah. Pablo burning a bunch of cards here to stop this air ring from landing. That for shame is a huge hit. Have both Kakita Dojos been used? No, there's still a Kakita Dojo. Or an RTO. That'll do it just as well, so the Master is online for an attack now. Another for shame. So many cards being played into this conflict. Do we see a third for shame? Because he, I believe, is now out of cancels. 2 defends. Okay, Funeral Pyre eats the Vanguard Warrior. Looking for any other card, and we see nothing. That was a big old conflict, and I think 3DCube not winning that conflict spells bad things. There's the political void. He is no longer covert from the student, which is an important thing to note. So this can be stopped. Watch Commander comes down. Master of Court runs home. Unfortunately, the Master of the Court is in a position to break courteous greeting, even on military. There are no conflict characters, so we are going to see a break. "3DCube loses a Defender Honor." That was unfortunately not going to do much against this. Favor's gone back and forth a bunch of times this game. It's kind of cool to actually see that happening. Usually it feels like once one player gets the favor, they get to keep the favor for the entire game. Alright, favorable deal broker and an envoy. I'm pretty sure that 3DCube is out of one-drop characters in his deck. There's another Uji. There's one envoy. Gallant to Gallant. No, I think he still has one Gallant Quartermaster in there. Uji fishes out 4 cards. There's the envoy. There's Challenger, Season of War. 3DCube just going to take the honor hit to start over, which I can get. And I think Pablo came out ahead on that season. I expect we're going to see that Hotaru get bought. And there's a Kikita Dojo on there. Deal Broker is now going to find either another envoy or a Gallant. So Uji is going to get blanked, which is actually no, probably the Master of the Court's going to get blanked to turn off the covert. Alright, so Scorpion Meme Dreams. Abandoning honor under the box. The big broker defends. I say the big broker. They're actually the same size. Oh no, the other one's bigger militarily. Anyways, yeah, we see a big old defend. Challenger is probably going to harpoon someone in just to make future blocks. More awkward. The other broker staying at home. Oh, blanks Challenger. Okay, interesting. A problem here is Honor's Reward is face up, and abandoning Honor is a fire province. So once the Kikita Dojo fires, we're going to be looking at an 8. 9 total military there. Deal Broker gets bowed because the Challenger is a duelist. It gets honored. So that's actually a big old force swing. Gunso comes in. That's going to snack on the Broker. Expect Honor's Reward is going to happen. Oh no, throws a fine katana on there. Okay, he's wanting to save that for the political swing on Hotaru when she's honored, which makes sense. 3DCube manages to hold it off with the Gunso heroically eating the Caillou Envoy. Skirmisher is good. I think we have to see a military conflict. Trying to push through that air ring again, coverting Uji at upholding. Master Court is still big. I don't think there's a whole lot that 3DCube can do here. This is kind of looking like it's Crane's game to win. So he's just going to let this go. Plays a Fury. That answers that super well. There's no Witch Hunter. He needs another Skirmisher to pull this off, and he doesn't have it. So now we're going to see a lot of political numbers. Broker gets coverted. I think we're done. Goes for the air ring just to. I haven't decided what I'm drinking yet, Panos. It's going to be whiskey or scotch. One or the other. But it is very nearby and waiting. Basically, right after this game, Panos, Not Fragile, and Tom, Tomoya, and I are going to be having a rambly discussion about L5R and power levels and cards and problem cards, maybe ways to avoid them, maybe some fixes, maybe just general rambling. So we see the concession. Hotaru gets honored just to drive home the point that Crane is much better at political than Crab. So it looks like the finals are going to be between Takamori Crane and Tyrannical Lion is what I want to call that deck, because I think it's going to be very oppressive. So yeah, that was a good game. I think Pablo did a great job of keeping 3DCube off of winning any air rings. I think 3DCube probably shouldn't have done those 2-1 bids. I think if he'd had more cards, he might have been better off. That's usually the way it goes, I think. Anyways, yeah, in about 10 minutes, I will fire up the stream again, and you can listen to three assholes bitch about L5R. Cool. See you guys in a bit. Bye.